Section 557. Deleted portion. Now, a few remarks having to do with the main reason that your suggestions were not as effective as you would have liked. You did not rise above the fear that the symptom itself, apart from everything else, gave you. You were in a panic, thinking of the importance of your hand to your work. You feared so strongly that the symptom could stop you, even from painting, that the fear itself became a detriment for positive suggestion. When your imagination operated freely and not directly concerning the symptom, then it strained in those directions. The very charge behind the fear propelled it. You did not give the suggestions from a standpoint of assurance. They were letdowns in your estimation, subconsciously, to hold back on the den of feared eventuality. You gave the suggestions out of fear then, not from a strong framework of assurance. You over-aggravated the symptoms, over-exaggerating their importance because of this fear. Now, Robert did the same thing on occasion in the past. Ralph said, "Do I still do it?" They said, "Give me a moment here." Give yourself suggestions only when you recognize that you have achieved a certain sense of peace within you. Even if it is only momentary, the feeling that you have stilled your fears for the time being. You recognize that feeling. You must not be propelled to give your suggestions by fear of what will happen, or might happen, or could happen otherwise. In your suggestions, tell yourself in whatever way you choose that your hand can be steady under any and all conditions. Do not specifically relate the behavior of the hand with your artistic self or artistic abilities in your suggestions, but in a general manner to the natural health of your being and the easy flow of your ideas outward. The difficulties with the hand were not meant to frighten your artistic self. You feared they were. They were meant, in some instances, to protect your artistic self. If you recall our last session, therefore, the fear was a conscious one, and basically unwarranted. The unconscious was not threatening your artistic self. You were afraid that it was, or that unwittingly the symptoms would bring this about. Ralph said, "Well, I certainly took it that way." They said, "The unconscious was trying to protect your artistic self. If you wanted to stay home and point all day badly enough, then it would hamper your hand motions at work." Do you follow that, or should I elaborate? Ralph noted, "I was thinking this over. I followed it all right. But at the same time, I was wondering why the unconscious, when it saw how I was taking the symptom, didn't get busy and eliminate it and set me at rest. I will have to ask the question." They said, "It mirrored your attitude toward your job, not toward your art in that regard. The fear that the artistic self was being frightened led to a certain panic that impeded the flow of information you were trying to suggest to the unconscious. The understanding that the artistic self was not being frightened should allow you to relax sufficiently for the suggestions to take effect more. You were as a result distrustful of the subconscious, and this hampered the suggestions. You felt If it were threatening your artistic self, what could you expect from it when you had always supposed previously that it upheld the creative drive? Your deduction, you see, was false. The earlier deduction that it threatened the painting. Read that over and ask me whatever questions you want to at our next session. Or if you have questions now, I will answer them. Ralph said, "It can wait. This looks like very telling information. Give me the weekend to think this over." Seth said, "There was no great diversion. The unconscious was trying to give you what it thought you wanted in that respect now. If you wanted to leave your job badly enough and could not consciously decide to do so, then it would force the situation for you in the most obvious way possible. You did not get your suggestions through adequately because in this important area, you misjudged its motives, and this caused a certain panic on your part, as mentioned." Ralph said, "You had better stop. Somebody's, meaning Jane, losing their voice." Ralph noted, Jane had been speaking very softly, in a very dry and husky voice that I thought was getting worse by the minute. But at my words, Seth suddenly boomed through very loud and clear with no voice problem, and quite humorously. Seth said, "I have just been keeping it low." Ralph said, "Oh?" Seth said, "Now, do you have any more questions?" Ralph said, "No." Seth said, "My heartiest regards to you and our friend. Have no worries about his voice." Ralph said, "Okay, and thank you very much."